Yes, it was a fantastic year, certainly for the film, The Revenant, and I was very honored at the Academy Awards to receive my first Oscar. I'm very grateful for what happened. That is, of course, not the reason we do movies is for awards. It's certainly gratifying and it feels fantastic, but you hope to remain with your initial ideals and dreams of what you want to be as an actor, and all I can hope for is that I'll continue to keep trying to make the best movies I possibly can. I remember that was my, after watching a year worth of cinema when I was 15 years old, I've said before, we stand on the shoulders of giants. There have been so many great performances and great movies in cinema's past that you just hope to emulate or do something as good as your heroes. So I can only continue to try to do that for the rest of my career, and I think it's a thirst that is never quenched if you truly love, an art form, and I love this art form. It's in my house,
家にあります。
in my living room,
今です。
and all of my friends have been curious to see it, and it feels good to have it there. Arigato, thank you. It's great to be back here in Japan again. I don't know how many times I've been here. Maybe it's been 15 or so now, but it's always lovely to come back. Kyoto is always my go-to exciting place to go. I love the rich history, try to absorb myself in all the various temples and stare at the Buddhas and reflect and be a part of that ancient Japanese culture. That is my absolute favorite thing to do when I come to Japan. I'm also very, very, very excited to be here for cherry blossom season. I always seem to miss it, but it's just the beginning from what
ま
I
だ
It was the opportunity to work on this screenplay, but most importantly, to work with a filmmaker of the caliber of Alejandro Inarritu's talents is a very rare situation. I've been a fan for ever since Amoros Perros and seeing Babel, which I thought was incredibly groundbreaking, working with Chivo, our cinematographer. But, this was a very unique cinematic experience. He wanted to really make this almost like an epic journey more than just making another movie. And there were so many unique things about the style and the method in which Alejandro wanted to shoot this film that it seemed too special to not be a part of. I think we all understood it was going to be a very difficult undertaking, and it turned out to be incredibly challenging. I think when you integrate a crew of this magnitude into locations that are very remote, hard to get to, in sub-zero temperatures, with very complex action sequences, you're bound to run into a lot of complications. But the fact that he wanted to make a film that was all shot entirely in natural light was just one of the many groundbreaking things that Alejandro did in this movie. We rehearsed all day long for 8 or 9 hours, and then we had this hour and a half of magic light that Chivo, our cinematographer, wanted to shoot in. And this natural light almost created a movie-making experience that was like theater. It was like doing live theater. We felt a tension and an adrenaline rush every single day to pull off very complex shots in a short amount of time. And I think it added to the intensity of the film. And that's one of many examples of things that I think Alejandro did that he put so much thought into. And when you make a movie that is this difficult, you certainly want to be a part of an experience and a director that has not only an intense passion for what they do, but is trying to break new ground artistically. And I really feel I'm so proud to be a part of this movie because I feel that generations from now will look back on this movie and see what Alejandro did as something that is unprecedented. I think this will probably be officially my last time publicly answering a question about The Revenant, which feels like a relief in its own right because I've been doing press for this film for the last 6 months. So here we go. It feels like the wrapping of another movie that I've done, which is the press for The Revenant. But in that regard, yes, The Revenant for me was more like a life experience than anything else. It was felt like a chapter in my entire life. It's been almost 2 years of promoting this film, growing a beard for this film, preparing for it, talking about the film with the director, shooting it. But the film kept on having its own life. Like I said before, this was a film for me that was very special. It was about something that I think was very primal, about mankind, about survival, about who we are in the modern world. And I think the movie took on many different meanings for me personally, and I think for the director and everyone involved as well, because on a personal level, I was doing a film about climate change that I've been doing for the past 2 years as well, with Fisher Stevens, who shot films like The Cove and is a great documentarian. We've been traveling around the world documenting climate change. We've been to China, India, the North-South Pole. We're going to Indonesia, all over the world to show how man's relationship with the natural world is. We're in a changing time, and to make a movie like The Revenant, which is about our survival on this planet, man's survival in tough conditions, was very symbolic for me. I'll always look back at this time period with great reflection and a time period where I learned a lot.
どうもありがとうございました。というわけで、
Thank you so
レオナルド・ディカプリオさんでした。ありがとうございました。